Do you need to spend hundreds of dollars to get an air fryer that cooks well, fits enough food, and is easy to use and clean? Or are the cheaper options just as good? To answer these questions and find out which one is truly the best, I tested 7 of the highest rated air fryers on the market. I tested performance by making fries, cookies, and squash in each one using the same settings and time. I also cooked chicken wings at the same temperature and let each one run until the wings were actually done, which ended up being a different time for every model. I measured their noise levels on air fry mode at 400 degrees Fahrenheit and cleaned them dozens of times to compare how easy they are to maintain. I also removed each crisper plate 100 times and checked for scratches on the coating inside the basket and damage to the rubber bumpers. Then I shook the basket to see if the plate would stay secure or fall out, which is dangerous when it's hot. I also compared all the key specs, including countertop footprint, cooking surface, height, weight, cord length, settings, features, and more. In this video, I break down each air fryer. I'll show you which ones performed the best, which ones performed the worst, and what actually matters when you're buying an air fryer. I'll start with the most affordable and end with the most expensive. The Ninja Air Fryer Pro 4-in-1 has a capacity of 5 quarts, but the actual cooking surface is pretty small. For context, it only fits about 4 slices of bread or 11 chicken wings. This was one of the fastest heating air fryers I tested. The wings were fully cooked in just 15 minutes and came out crispy and well browned. The fries were crunchy and the squash cooked evenly. The cookies were a little dark on top, but still came out fine. On the negative side, the crisper plate falls out when you tilt the basket, which is dangerous since it gets so hot. You need to hold it down with a utensil while you pour the food out. I like that it has physical buttons instead of a touch screen. I also like how it shows the countdown in minutes and seconds. Most of the others just show minutes. However, I don't like that the timer doesn't automatically pause when you remove the basket. This can mess with your cooking time if you pull it out for more than a few seconds. And lastly, it's the loudest air fryer I tested. The Chefman Multifunctional Digital Air Fryer is more of a countertop oven than a traditional air fryer. It has a glass door that opens forward, 3 wire racks instead of a basket, and a built-in light so you can see what's going on inside. You can fit up to 12 slices of bread or 27 wings if you use all 3 racks. So it's great if you want to cook multiple things at once. It also has a rotisserie function. In my testing, wings came out crispy, the squash cooked well, and the fries were evenly browned. The cookies came out well, but the tops were slightly more brown than the bottoms. Although overall performance was solid, there's a lot I don't like. First, the unit tips forward when you open the door, which is super dangerous. You need to hold it in place with your other hand when you open it. Secondly, the racks are thin and kind of sharp. Food gets stuck in them and they will tear up your sponge. The touchscreen is also finicky. The buttons don't always register unless you press them in just the right spot, and when you hit the maximum or minimum temperature, it loops around to the other end, which is annoying. The COSORI TurboBlaze 6-quart air fryer is compact, but it can still fit about 5 slices of bread and 14 wings. At 40 inches, it has the second longest cord of the group, and the touchscreen controls on the top give it a clean, modern look. It's the only air fryer I tested with a safety latch on the handle, so you have to press down before pulling the basket out. This prevents the drawer from accidentally sliding out if the unit tips. The crisper plate fits in tight and doesn't fall out even when I shook the basket hard. Performance-wise, it did well. Wings were crispy, the squash was evenly roasted, and the cookies were just slightly darker on the top than the bottom. The fries came out fine. They weren't quite as crispy as the best performers, but still solid. It was also one of the quieter air fryers. One odd thing about this air fryer is that the holes in the middle of the crisper plate are pretty large, so small foods like fries or sliced vegetables can fall through and get stuck underneath. Seems like an easy fix, so I'm not sure why it's still like that. The Instant Vortex Plus 6-quart air fryer has been named the best overall by both Serious Eats and America's Test Kitchen, so I had high expectations going into testing. It has the same capacity as the COSORI, but the basket is wider and not quite as tall, which gives you a little more usable cooking space. Instead of 14 wings, you can fit about 16 wings without overcrowding. It has a stainless steel front that gives it a more polished look and blends in nicely with other kitchen appliances. This is the only air fryer I tested that automatically preheats. I measured the preheat time and it took exactly 2 minutes and 39 seconds to reach 400 degrees Fahrenheit. But most of the time, I just put the food in right away and it still comes out fine. This is also the only air fryer that beeps halfway through to remind you to shake or flip your food. Some people find this feature annoying, but I actually like it. In terms of performance, it cooked everything well. Wings took 25 minutes, but were crispy and juicy. Fries were evenly browned, and the squash came out great. The cookies had ideal color on top, but were a little underdone on the bottom. In terms of noise, it was the second quietest model I tested. The crisper plate doesn't fall out when you tip the basket, but it did fall out when I shook the basket hard. And one of the rubber bumpers started to come loose, but it was easy to pop back in. A lot of the negative reviews about this air fryer talk about a chemical or plastic smell. I noticed it the first few times I used it, but after a handful of uses and cleanings, it went away. The Ninja Crispi is definitely the most unique air fryer I tested. Instead of a traditional basket, it comes with 2 glass containers, a lid with a built-in heating element and fan, and crisper plates to elevate the food and let air flow. The containers also come with regular lids so you can store the leftovers and reheat them later. Capacity-wise, it's small. The larger container fits 4 overlapping slices of bread or 11 wings, and the smaller container only fits about 1.5 slices of bread and 6 wings. I like that you can watch your food cook through the glass, and you don't have to worry about a non-stick coating flaking, but the overall features are extremely basic. You can't set a specific temperature. You can only choose between 4 preset modes and adjust the time. Surprisingly, the performance was good. The wings were crispy, the fries browned evenly, and the squash was soft in the middle with a crisp exterior. Unfortunately, the cookies were overcooked on top, completely undercooked on the bottom, and they stuck to the glass. The biggest issue for me with this air fryer is safety. The glass gets extremely hot. I measured it 5 minutes after cooking, and it was still over 120 degrees Fahrenheit on the outside. Also, the lid is heavy and awkward to lift, and once you take it off, the heating element on the top is still very hot. So when you set it down on the counter, it sits only a couple inches off the surface. So if you're not paying attention and put it on something flammable or heat sensitive, that's a problem. And cleaning it can also be a bit annoying. There's a small space between the glass and the plastic base and handles where water and food can get trapped, and you can't reach it with a sponge or dry it with a towel. The Ninja DoubleStack XL is a 2-basket, 10-quart air fryer that kind of looks like a computer tower. At 22 pounds, it's the heaviest air fryer I tested. It also has the shortest cord at just 29 inches. The fans are in the back instead of the top, and there are holes in the back of the baskets to help circulate the air. Oil and grease can get stuck in those holes or spray through to the heating element, which makes it harder to clean. Each basket has a crisper plate and a metal rack that lets you cook in 2 layers, which technically gives you 4 total cooking surfaces. That's great in theory, but each one is small. You can only fit about 3 slices of bread or 10 wings. In terms of performance, it consistently cooked slower than the others. The wings were fully cooked after 25 minutes, but they weren't as crisp as the others. Fries came out slightly soft, squash was less browned, and the cookies were the least cooked on top. The top basket runs a little hotter than the bottom, but even then it still trailed the others. Unlike the smaller Ninja Pro, the crisper plates didn't fall out when I tilted and shook the baskets. But like the other Ninja, the timer keeps going when you remove the basket. The Typhur Dome 2 is the most expensive air fryer I tested, and it's also the biggest. It's wide, it's deep, and it takes up the most space on your counter. There's not much space inside height-wise, so you can't cook anything tall. However, it has the largest cooking surface by far, enough to fit about 7 slices of bread or 25 wings. The key feature of this air fryer is that it has 2 heating elements, one on the top and one on the bottom. Most air fryers have 1 heating element at the top. In my testing, there was a noticeable benefit from the 2 heating elements. The wings were done in just 18 minutes, making it the second fastest overall, and the cookies were the best out of the group. They were evenly baked throughout. All of the other food came out crisp and brown and perfectly cooked. Typhur claims that it's quieter than other air fryers, and that's actually true. I measured it at 51 decibels, which made it the quietest model I tested. The crisper plate fell out when I shook it hard, but it stays in place securely when you tilt it. This model also connects to an app, which isn't something I really need in an air fryer, but it's a nice perk. The app is easy to set up on your phone and pair with the air fryer, and it gives you an alert when your food is done. You can also use it to activate self-cleaning mode, which I haven't found necessary yet. Now that you know the pros and cons of each air fryer, the question is, which ones are worth buying and which ones should you avoid? Before I give you my take, I just want to let you know that all of the air fryers I tested are linked in the video description below. If you're looking for the best performance, the clear winner is the Typhur Dome 2. You can spread food without overcrowding, the two heating elements cook more evenly, and it's by far the quietest. It's big and expensive, but if that's not a deal breaker, it's my top pick. If that's out of your budget or you don't have the countertop space, the Instant Pot Vortex Plus is the one I'd recommend for most people. It doesn't take up too much room, but there's still enough space to cook for 4, maybe even 5 people. It has a sleek steel finish, helpful features like the flip reminder, and it performs consistently well. The COSORI TurboBlaze and Ninja Air Fryer Pro are solid options too, but they come with some trade-offs. The air fryers I don't recommend buying are Chefman, Ninja DoubleStack, and Ninja Crispi. The Chefman tipping forward is a deal breaker. The Ninja Crispi's hot glass and portable heating element feel too risky for me, and while the DoubleStack sounds great with its 2 cooking zones, it's bulky, each basket is small, and it cooked slower than everything else I tested. If you're still not sure which one to buy, this chart will help you compare all the key specs. Pause the video to take a closer look. If this was helpful, check out this video where I review the best Dutch ovens, or this video where I break down the best food storage containers. And for more videos like this, click the logo to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.